Okay. All right, we're live. Thank you for joining us,
Hello.
everyone. I'm James, and this is
Yeah, I'm Lachlan. Hello.
Lachlan. Lachlan is an extinctionist who has joined the group. How long ago would you say it was now? A couple months?
Probably a few months.
Yeah.
I kind of just started getting it recommended on my Reddit page, and then started engaging, I guess.
Yeah. So I've been doing a few YouTube videos about extinctionism, and I'm trying to make more serious videos now. I've been doing YouTube shorts, and you kind of have to go with the algorithm and make it like influencer style if you want to be popular. But yeah, it'd be good to get more into proper depth on some topics. So why don't you tell us about your sort of, I don't know, mental experience, if you will, learning about extinctionism, how you felt about it, and how you sort of came to agree with it.
I guess for the way it's been the past year and a half, I'd say of just becoming more interested in ethics and anti-suffering. And at first I became a vegan, and then from that it started getting deeper into like wild animal ethics. And then a few months ago, when I saw post from the extinctionist subreddit, I started like questioning, I guess, my preconceived beliefs. It kind of opened my eyes to the fact that even if we did achieve a vegan world, it still didn't stop enough suffering, and that we need to push more to stop wildlife suffering and even just like suffering of humans as well.
Yeah, and Steve has been debating vegans quite a bit recently, and he's been really dunking on them. We had some vegans come in to talk on voice chat in Discord, and Steve was basically saying, like, if you really think about it, veganism doesn't have any sort of end goals that are realistic or any sort of, overall principles that sort of solve suffering, and so, like, Steve was saying, if you're going to make it illegal to harm animals the same way it's illegal to harm humans, it's going to be virtually impossible to actually have a justice system that deals with that many more victims, right? Justice systems are already sort of overloaded at the minute. Now imagine if all of the animal-related abuse were to be illegal. It would be just insane, right? And Steve was even pointing out that you'd have to be able to do autopsies on animals and forensics. And yeah, it would just be insane. And you can never also convince everyone to be vegan either. As we've been pointing out recently, you can't convince sadists to stop liking pain of others and abusing others. On the flip side of that, you can't stop empaths from caring about suffering and victims. But you probably can't really convince everyone to be 100% vegan.
No. And that's kind of the fault with like democracy in itself, that a lot of democratically based systems fall when it comes to like popularity, because like what's popular isn't necessarily what's the best option. So even though this movement's still very small, it's not popular, it doesn't really take away from it. And I guess when you add democracy to it, it gets a bit too muffled in a way, less focused.
Yeah, I'd say that we are sort of proceeding and growing the movement lawfully and within democratic bounds. However, the problem with relying on democracy and consent and things like that is that it allows for theoretically unlimited suffering, which never ends. If 51% of the population is always going to be pro-life, then what do you do then? Do you say, oh, well, guess there's nothing we can do because we have to respect democracy? That wouldn't really, be doing justice to the victims.
Yeah. And also back to the point you're making about like adding laws against animal cruelty, is that especially when it comes to wildlife suffering, like when a lion eats a zebra, whether the lion catches the zebra and gets a meal or doesn't and starves to death, there's still cruelty happening in both instances. So laws will get very complicated and convoluted when it comes to how to enact those.
Yeah, and the problem with laws and the justice system, now obviously we support them existing, but they're kind of reactive in most cases. So they don't prevent all crimes. They might prevent some, but they don't prevent all of them. And the system doesn't intend to prevent all of them, doesn't claim that it can prevent all of them. It's not a system that can prevent all suffering, and therefore it virtually guarantees that there will be some. And then you have to ask, well, what's the justification for that? Why should there have to be victims and suffering? What are they doing it? What are they suffering for? And if it's for the pleasure of others, then that's like the basis of morality, and that's as wrong as it gets, really. I mean,
Yeah.
I like to think that you could make an argument for extinctionism being objective morality, because what is morality if not don't harm others or don't allow harm to come to others for your selfish benefit? It doesn't really get more base than that, if you ask me.
No, it doesn't. I think it depends, because I see a lot of people coming, especially onto the subreddit, and they kind of like twist morality to their own beliefs. So it can be difficult to get down to basic morality when you kind of have to argue on the basis of what morality is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes a bit of a word salad when trying to deal with preventing suffering.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons it becomes a word salad is because people kind of get logic confused with like morality and empathy, and it all just gets muddled up, right? And because you have varying levels of like sadism going up into then empathy, right, on a spectrum, if you will, and you've got people all along the spectrum. That's why they've got such different opinions, because you've got people who are more empathetic and people who are less empathetic. So you can't easily sort of get everyone to agree or change their opinion and minds when those opinions are sort of actually linked to their hormones and their brain chemistry. If that makes sense.
It does, just down to the... Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, what kind of, let's talk about activism. So what sort of activism have you been involved in or interested in?
Yeah, I've been mostly doing replies on a lot of the Reddit posts, just some people asking questions or even trolling, just to, I guess, provide answers to questions that people might have. So that when they go looking through the Reddit post, they just don't see like that they see a proper representation of what our movement is and what it hopes to achieve. And I've also been replying in mod mails and inviting to the subreddit as well, but not as frequently as I should be.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing to do. I do inviting a lot. It's just so simple and easy. And if you're watching a film or something and it's at a boring bit, you can just pop it out and send a few invites. It takes a few seconds. And yeah, it's good to grow the sub that way as well, because I think, the subreddit has actually grown quite fast. We'll be at 1K subscribers soon. And the bigger it gets, the more kind of attention it gets as well. So yeah, it's good. Back in the day, like 6 or 7 months ago, when the previous sub was really big, it was totally different to the subreddit that you see now. There was a lot more posts, way more discussions. It was way more happening, basically. So we'd like to get back to that.
Yeah. What do you think happened to stop that? Was that just the subreddits getting blocked and deleted?
That didn't help because we had to start again from zero. But we also changed a few of the rules and made it stricter. So we made a read before you post section. That cut out a lot of the questions and silly things. We also made the rules a little bit stricter, less trolling, things like that. So that kind of helped put out a few of the fires, if you will, and a lot of the trolling and aggravation. One thing I've kind of been looking at in terms of Reddit is how to get high upvote posts. Now, when you post on Reddit, you yourself can see how many views the post has had, and if you get like 100 upvotes, then you'll probably get thousands of views on that post. And one way I've been getting a few high upvote posts recently is by kind of taking vegan memes and depression memes, things like that, and you adapt them to the extinctionist message, because a lot of these memes are still anti-suffering, but you kind of scale up the amount of suffering that it can relate to, and a lot of the upvotes you get on them will be from morons, pro-lifers, whatever you want to call them, but because they didn't read the message fully, so they're like, oh yeah, just upvote it. But that does actually help kind of spread the message anyway, because it still gets it more views. The more upvotes it gets, the more people will see it. So you
have
can
been getting more upvotes.
So you can kind of like ride on the popularity of popular ideologies, if you will. So like I've just been going to vegan subreddit and others like that, looking at really high upvote memes that they've got, and some of them you can just copy and paste them and just change the title. Others you might have to edit the image a little bit, instead of veganism, edit it and put extinctionism or something like that, and it works. The other thing I'm doing apart from that, again, I'm like, obviously we want to get as many views as we can. That's how we're going to grow the movement, and that's what we're focusing on YouTube. I'm like trying to learn video editing. The past like 3 or 4 videos I've posted, I've done like I've started using proper editing on them, putting closed captions on and then doing a few effects and things, and that's already boosted the views quite a lot. So if I get good with that, my videos could be getting a lot more views. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that we want people to be doing, if they can.
Obviously, I definitely need to get more into video editing and making posts.
I see you've got a piano, so you might be a bit creative.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of skills that you think would be helpful?
I think other than being musical, I am quite I guess creative in a way. Like I understand how to edit videos. It's just getting the ideas is where I kind of struggle with.
Yeah, like video editing is potentially the biggest thing that the movement needs at the minute. You might have seen the video that Kiruthika made recently. That's with an AI voice and just video clips, but it works pretty well. And even as a starting point, that's a really good place to start. I think that if all of us made YouTube channels and started pumping out videos, we'd start getting somewhere, I think.
I think so.
But I also think that, like, you know, how have you heard of Dominion, the vegan film?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Like imagine if we made a version of that for extinctionism.
That would
So
be cool.
I mean, yeah, like you've got small projects and then bigger projects that we can work on. Yeah, I think, you know, something like that would be really effective, but it's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
You know, we could probably start off just by developing our video skills and then maybe think about that.
Yeah, even just creating separate channels and then from that way working towards a bigger project on the main channel could work. Just
Say again?
like I think it could be good if we, like as you said, made our own channels, developed our skills on an
Yeah.
individual level, and then collaborated and stuff.
Yeah, and even without editing, you can just go on your phone and you know, make a 15-second video and post it on YouTube like that. And it's
Mhm.
you know, once you get into the habit of doing that, it's really quick and easy. You know, you'll start thinking about a good message for the video, and then you'll be like, okay, bam, and then you just upload it. And if it gets 1,000 views, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
I think some of the main video editing skills that we would benefit from would be more to do with putting like videos and images into the videos, transitions, things like that, and effects. So if you look at like a highly edited video on YouTube, let's say by someone that's, you know, selling a course or something, you know, it's very flashy, highly edited. It's probably got dramatic music and stuff, and it's, you know, it's very engaging, and you know, it feeds your attention. That could potentially be really good for us. You know, in terms of the Dominion idea, it doesn't have to be like a 90-minute long film, but we could make something like, you know, like I think it's called Veritasium. There's quite a few YouTube channels that, again, using a lot of editing, make sort of small documentary videos, whether it's 10 minutes long or 20 minutes long, explaining.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we could do something like that to a high standard, high quality. If it's like, you know, really, really well edited, that would be great. You know, Steve is doing a lot of this kind of stuff. He uses more basic editing skills, but it's still effective. And obviously his message is very powerful, and he puts things in a very articulate, intelligent way.
Yeah, his views is what got me into the movement and everything.
But you know, a lot of people are visual learners, as they say, and you know, some videos without a face talking, and it's just like animations and editing and all that and clips, sometimes that does even better. So yeah, and that's just one of the many things that we can try, but I think that would be great. But again, we'll need to get quite experienced with video editing. I'm using CapCut. It's kind of, I'm not in love with the software, but at least I'm learning some skills on it. There's also Clipchamp, which is the free Windows one, but I'm having some issues with that as well.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I haven't really put together a video using clips and images yet. Pretty much all of my videos are just me talking. And like one of my main ideas is to kind of go down that influencer route. Try and use flashy editing, you know, whether it's using like a more interesting background, whatever it is, to get more attention, more views. I think that'd be good. And obviously the influencers doing this kind of stuff, again, they can just pump out these videos by just holding up their phone and talking into it. That'd be a great pipeline if we can make it successful.
It would. It just depends on how we go about it. Just It's just ideas, really, just being able to print out ideas to get these small and large projects happening.
Yeah, I think I agree with this basically, and sort of the more professional we make it, um, the better. Essentially, the more seriously we can be taken, the better. Obviously, we do a lot of like ownage videos, and debating people and stuff, and maybe we do get a little bit hostile or defensive sometimes. There is an argument for having sort of a more serious side, and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
even less emotional side, right?
It's like a balance, yeah.
More of a professional side, I guess I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if if it's really professionally done, like a documentary video like this, people are going to be able to take it more seriously if we don't sound like internet trolls.
Yeah. I guess just has like it's important to like separate ourselves from, I guess, nihilists and sadists and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we are just normal people. We're
Mm-hmm.
not, you know, we're not the head of the UN or some
No.
credited sort of official. Um, so it is kind of up to us to curate our own image, and strike the balance between, because Steve was doing a lot of sort of ownage videos to get views. Now that does get views, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you could say, well, and a lot of people do say this, that you should be more serious, you should be more professional, you should stop swearing, you should stop being rude to people, and just be polite. The only argument against that is if it ends up getting less views and less attention. So that is one thing to be worth considering. However, again, I think flashy editing, good clips, whether it's 4K clips that we're using for our videos and
Yeah.
stuff, making it more engaging, that's the way to do it. Again, like the Veritasium style, right? He's
Yeah.
not going around dunking on people and being rude to them. He's using editing skills to get people interested. He's not relying on ownage.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where we can look at other movements for like guidance towards editing styles and how to get engagement and that sort of stuff. Yeah, because it's important to not just portray the movement as one thing in a way.
Mhm.
Like we can be serious, we can be emotional, we can be like rational, we can be scientific in
Yeah,
some
and
ways.
and to be fair, every movement has had a variety of different like medias. So, like you say, serious stuff and then more humorous stuff. Serious videos, and then you got your memes. And every movement in history has had literature. So,
Mm-hmm.
poems and stuff like that. Now, I'm not a massive fan of poetry, and I don't think it's a serious way to contribute, but there are other ways. So, lots of vegan activists, for example, will make cartoons and sort of analogies and metaphors and things like that, right? So you've got a lot of the
Yeah.
big works of history, the major literature in history. It's all got some sort of message, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one way that we can go down, but I think being more direct for now is probably better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for example, Saran recently suggested making an anime film,
Yeah. I saw that.
where I think he was trying to say either the good guy was extinctionist or the bad guy, but it didn't matter which. But I think
Yeah.
that's a bit beyond us at the minute, and
It is a bit.
we should focus on more direct messaging for now.
I think it's just putting our resources in the wrong basket. Like it just take too much time and not really get us anywhere. I feel like it's not something we can do to a high quality. So it's
Yeah,
important just to look at what we can do to a high quality.
yeah, and we should use our time efficiently as well. How many views would that anime get, and how well would it really be made? How long would it take to make? Not a good
How much
use of
money?
So yeah. Is there anything else you want to discuss? I was going to say we could take questions from the chat, but unfortunately we don't really have any.
No. Is it just the time, maybe?
It could be. It is a bit of an awkward time, to be fair.
It is. Because for me, it's night time, and for you, it's the morning, yeah?
Yeah, on a Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's close. For me, it's like midnight right now.
Bring up scientific discussion. I need help with researching the sources and making an updated How Extinction, which needs high editing skills. Yeah, exactly. So in case you don't know, Lachlan, How Extinction, despite the bad English, is one of the main videos that we use, which Steve made. It's a webinar all about extinctionism, and it does actually have a lot of good editing and animations and all that good stuff. But we could potentially do another one. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
One thing I'm thinking about as well is that we spend a lot of time talking to pro-lifers, and it has been pointed out that it's kind of a waste of time. They're never gonna understand it. They're essentially biologically incapable of understanding it, unfortunately. And even people that are kind of really on the fence and they're asking sort of weird questions, but that they're agreeing with it, but then they're asking weird questions, that they're probably not gonna join up. So
yeah, I've gotten quite a few of those.
Although I do kind of feel like we're getting a lot of quite a few people at the minute taking the idea seriously. So I've had quite a few conversations where people are starting to, really start to get it. And there's that one guy on Reddit that posted about antinatalism. I don't know if you've seen that post, but he seems to be.
Yeah.
He seems to be another fully rational extinctionist, essentially, which is obviously a very rare find. I've invited him to the Discord, but he's not joined yet. So hopefully he will.
Yeah, hopefully. I feel like there's, even though there looks like there's a lot of activity on the subreddit, there's not as many active people, I would say.
Yeah.
Like we've only got like a core team of like 6-7 people. And
yeah. I mean, the problem is that there's a high bar. We have high standards. If we lowered the standards, we'd have more people in our group. But the bar is you have to be rational enough to actually be on board with extinction. So that Steve literally made a message about it today. I don't know if you saw it, but he was saying that it's going to be a slow process. It's going to be slow. We are looking for. I mean, it's interesting to think about if it's like 1 in 1,000 kind of people that we're looking for, or if it's like 1 in 1,000,000. I think it's probably more like 1 in 1,000,000.
Probably. It is quite. I guess difficult.
You might have to make 100 videos before you find one person that actually joins the group.
Yeah, I think it's hard to know whether someone's serious or not, because like we all kind of started somewhere. Like I was a bit like I questioned a bit when I first started joining the movement, and you might have as well. And you kind of ask questions just to understand more, and it can be difficult to cut through what's like a pro-life or whatever, just trolling or deflating or like asking questions, or whether someone genuine who wants to join. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it might be less than 1 in 100. I'm sorry. You might have to make 200 videos before you get an
Maybe.
activist to join up. But again, if we get some really good editing skills and we learn how to do it, then it might be 50 videos instead of 200 that you have to make.
I guess another idea is like reaching out to different platforms. Like there might be even platforms more suited towards extinctionism or whatever.
So I don't really use TikTok. I have installed it recently. I know that a few extinctionists do post on TikTok. I don't have much experience with it, so I don't know how good it is, but I could give it a go. I've got an account, so just like with YouTube, I could probably just start making some videos and posting them out.
Yeah, I'm the same with you. I haven't used TikTok before as well.
My impression of it is that it's for like kids and like memes and stuff. So I don't know. I can try it. We always say try everything, right?
Yeah, from what I've seen, it seems to get a lot of like engagement. Like you get more views per video because you're just scrolling through an endless kind of stream of videos.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's just from, I haven't used TikTok, so that's just from what I've gathered.
Yeah, I mostly just use
YouTube. Do you see a difference in reaction to your YouTube posts versus like Reddit or other social media? Does like one get more engagement, or it's hard to tell?
Hard to say. My YouTube shorts are pretty direct, but they get quite a few likes. Most of them do get a few comments saying "go and kill yourself" or something. So
I'm getting a few of those.
I think you're always going to get that on every platform. Yeah, I don't know. Like I always post a comment in my videos with the link to the Discord and say, come and join us, and that always gets quite a few likes. But not so many people joining the Discord.
Yeah, I wonder if most of those likes are from like people already in the Discord.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. How is AI activism research going? Could we land an extinctionist server platform in a decade? So, like, one thing I was thinking about this in terms of how AI could help the movement. You can actually train. I think it's called a LoRa. You can train LoRa's on your local computer to understand everything about your business or whatever it is. It can understand imagery. You can feed it documents, and it'll just understand everything. So, potentially you could use that and have it as a chat bot. So when people have questions about extinctionism, they could ask the AI. Is that as good as a human doing it? Maybe, maybe not. It depends. The AI can actually give some really good answers. I had a really deep discussion with ChatGPT about the morality of extinctionism. And one thing it came out with, which was quite interesting, was that it said that the idea that you can trade suffering for pleasure, which is what pro-lifers do, implies that there is like an exchange rate and a currency on how much suffering can buy how much pleasure, which is, a disgusting thing to think about if you think about it.
It is, yeah.
But it also, I was quite impressed at ChatGPT with that because it makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah, it makes it seem like dystopian in a way. Like that could be like a film where they use pleasure, like in suffering, to buy.
There kind of is a film like that. It's called Timeless with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good film.
It does kind of seem like that.
anyway, so you can train an AI to do all sorts of things with your movement. You could feed it all of the transcripts from all of our videos and all of our documents, Reddit posts, all of that, and it would have a pretty damn good idea of what we were about. What it could then do is quite a lot of things. So it wouldn't necessarily just be a chatbot. If you had it on your local PC, then there's no rules. Okay, so it's allowed to do anything. Whereas ChatGPT will say, I'm not allowed to help you grow a movement. So it will just say, if I think you're even considering growing a movement, I won't help you. So yeah, on a local AI, extinctionist AI would be able to come up with suggestions. It would be able to analyze situations for you. It would be able to create content for you. It'd be able to create imagery, and depending on the resources you've got and how big your computer is for it, it could even generate, like clips of wildlife suffering potentially. Now, we'd rather use real ones, but they're not always easy to find, and not always easy to find like the type of suffering that you want to show to make your point. So it could potentially create, HD animal suffering or whatever else you want to make your point. A lot of the video editing softwares at the minute have got now AI video creation. You tell it what you want to make and it will do it. But again, the rules are very, very, very strict. Like
they would be.
A person crying is pretty much as dark as it will get. So an AI could be quite useful. If we had a bunch of money lying around, we could do that now, but we don't. If we ever get a rich extinctionist, that would be helpful.
Maybe.
But until then, we just crack on and use our skills, right? So that's what I'm gonna get on with now myself. Try and learn some more editing. Again, like it's easy to make a video where you're just talking, but if you've got a video where you're using loads of clips, that's when you need a bit more skill. So
I think those videos definitely get more engagement because it's more active. There's more stuff happening.
Yeah, people are visual learners. Keeps them engaged. There's something completely different every few seconds. So I think that's good for today. It's been great to introduce you to everyone, Lachlan.
Thank you for joining us.
And
thanks for having me on here. First time I've ever been on a podcast type thing.
Well, hopefully it will inspire you to do more videos.
Yeah.
Great. Well, do you think you would start a YouTube channel?
I think so. I've been meaning to get into like editing and making videos.
Yeah,
I think it's just getting into it.
Yeah, it's so easy to just make a 15-second video and just post it. There's like it takes 15 seconds.
I think the thing is, like, I can be a bit of a perfectionist sometimes, and I just keep perfecting an idea until it just gets nowhere. So I kind of need to get into the habit of just making a video and releasing it.
Yeah, but what I did yesterday was I made like 10 15-second videos in a row with different ideas and different themes. And then I just went through and picked out my favorite ones out of the videos. Some were better than others, and rolled with them. But yeah, keep it simple. I'd say try not to overthink it. A lot of the messaging for extinctionism is actually quite simple. Nobody should have to suffer. We should end all suffering. Join the end all suffering movement now. Something like that is dead easy to do. You don't even need to think about it. So it's a good place to start, and then you can get more developed with your videos. Well, like I say, I'm going to go off and try and do some video editing now.
Thank you. I'm probably going to go to sleep soon. It's like
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.
Thanks. See ya.